Hey, everybody, welcome to the first episode of 1 Week Later Review Show. I'm your host, Jason, and welcome. And on today's first episode, we are going to be diving into our review of 1 Week Later of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So let's get along and introduce my cohorts here on today's show. And starting to my, I don't know, is it my right, my left? Who knows? Because I'm looking at a mirror image. Joe, how are you doing today, Joe?
I'm good. You may remember this voice from Disc Dungeon or Captain's Quadrant, which I co-host with Jace. I keep doing the wrong way too, so I know how to do it. On the same channel. Good to see everybody. Glad to be here. Can't wait to dive into Doctor Strange. And it's an honor to be with my friends down under in Australia. And my boys.
Work on that accent, mate.
Yeah.
Down under.
Down under.
That would work, but I figured we don't want the copyright strike.
When you say down under, you mean like Brooklyn?
Down.
All right, moving on to is my colleague on the Pop Culture Spread channel, the one and only Rick. How are you, mate?
Good. How are you guys? It's so good to see everyone. I mean, we haven't done this for such a long time, so it's good to see everyone. Loving it. Got a full house. Super excited to talk about Doctor Strange. Can't wait to get into it because I've got some good and some bad things to say about this.
Well.
Oh, yeah.
We're
gonna get into it.
Our next co-host is Brandon. How are you, sir?
Doing good, Jason. How are you? Feeling all right?
Very good. Very good.
Great. I'm excited. I'm so happy to be here. We're gonna do a lot of talking. We're gonna talk our trash, and I've been waiting all week to talk about it.
Absolutely. And of course, the irrepressible Billy. How are you, sir?
I was waiting for a Saturday Night Fever strut to be somewhere in this movie.
Hey.
That's a bad sign.
When they crossed through the realities, there should have been Peter Parker doing a Saturday Night Fever strut.
That's right.
There is a lot to talk about with the multiverse on this one. But before we get into that, I thought it'd be interesting to have a look at how this movie's been tracking so far financially, because if we love these films, these movies need to make money. So let's have a look, and I'm just going to share a screen here of what the box office results are so far. So we call this box office results. All right, now let's have a look. If my screen wants to pop up, just need to share it, don't I, Jace? There we go. And here we go. So Doctor Strange and Multiverse Madness had well, I could say straight off the back, doubled its opening weekend of the first film. So it did straight away. And obviously there was a lot of hype around this film. But to date, and the movie has been released for 8 days, over in your homeland, guys, it has domestically grossed $247 million, which it really wasn't that long ago that if you hit 100 million on a weekend, you were doing really, really well.
Right.
So, yeah, so it is. It just goes that Marvel is just strength from strength because, without letting the cat out of the bag, this isn't an event picture. Maybe some people thought it was going to be before they saw it, but to get those kind of numbers is huge. Now,
it is weird because there are a lot of expectations. I don't think anyone saw this as like a Shang-Chi or Eternals. This was very much an event. Going to see this movie.
Yeah, they were thinking it was going to be like No Way Home.
This was going to be the movie that sets us up for the future of the next phase of the Marvel universe. So there was a lot of hype behind this.
Yeah, and it's heavily implied in the title, isn't it? Multiverse of Madness really implies something big. So it definitely got the numbers. People were out there in the first weekend, but how did it track going along when word had started getting out about this movie and how it was going? And if you can see here with I'm not a big data guy, but if you have a look at some of the drop-offs. So on Friday, Huge did a 90 million, and then it dropped like 36% the following day. So early work trying to come out. But interestingly enough, as you can kind of track along there, they've had some the drops have been getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And in fact, on Friday night over there, it jumped up 100% from the following day. So the movie's got legs. That's the point. And whatever people's initial reactions, it's clear by these numbers, people are going back. So that's extremely, to me, an interesting trend with this film, because I thought maybe it would have not done as well this weekend over in America and worldwide, but it seems to be going well.
No,
Well, it was definitely a good movie to see on the Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent point, actually, because it is very horror. So, yeah.
That's something I had not considered before. For me, it's just a matter of, while we are returning to normalcy, so to speak, in the age of COVID, we still have a reluctancy to go to the theaters, except for when it's a major event. You know, the studios, actors, directors can blame Marvel and superhero movies in general if they want to, but truthfully, it takes an event to bring us to the theater now. Not just
Agreed.
because pre-pandemic, it was just because going to the movie theaters is a lot of money. But now it's, am I willing to step outside, go on public transportation, be surrounded by these many people to see this? And I don't think most other movies are really encouraging people to come out. But Marvel movies, you know, big budget movies, Fast and the Furiouses, the Jurassic Parks, these are the movies that are bringing people in.
Yeah.
Call it a roller coaster movie if you want, but it draws.
100%. 100%. All right. Now the comments going to move across to our next segment, and let's have a look at some of the audience reactions for this film. So let's have a look here, guys. I've got the screen up again. Let's have a look at what Rotten Tomatoes are saying. Now, Rotten Tomatoes are generally, we all tend to go to them because they do an aggregate, and it's, you know, you could probably argue some of these numbers, but they're fairly accurate. So the critics are giving it a 74%, which I'm actually honestly really surprised at. I thought it would have been lower.
Same.
And I'm actually really shocked at the audience numbers too. I expected both those numbers to be lower. What did you guys think?
I totally agree. I felt like there was a very high expectation, and especially when the buzzwords going around during the making of this were the most characters you've ever seen in a Marvel film. And then watching it was like, well, not really. I felt like they were more in Endgame, you know, maybe even more in Civil War, you know what I mean? So I found that to be a little bit of a drawback, and I felt like, you know, the way it came together and how the villain ended up being, I thought was a little bit not the way I anticipated. So even the editing was a little choppy. So I felt, you know,
we'll get into that a little bit more later. Rick, what did you think of the audience? Are you surprised at these numbers?
No, actually, I'm pretty much thinking, spot on, really, because of, like, obviously we've all been talking about the hype of this movie and everything else, and coming into it and seeing it, it's pretty spot on because, you know, as an audience member, personally, I went in there as just nothing. I went in there, didn't take out all the hype and all that, and I went in there as a movie goer. So that's the pleasure I had with this movie, and I think that's the majority of some of them were having it in those statistics. But like Joe said, it had a big hype about it, and people were misled.
What's that saying I've been using recently? Don't let your speculation override your expectation. Which is a fair point when you're going into it.
Correct.
Billy, your thought on the numbers?
That seems somewhat believable. The weird thing I just was thinking about when I saw it in the theater was, for some reason, most of the time during callbacks, except for like towards the end, people would just clap. Like anytime there was anything, like there's like the X-Men 97 theme, you heard people like clapping, like it's just like
I did.
No one that made the movie is here. You're not doing a test screening. No, why are you clapping?
It's a genuine emotion, Billy.
That's right.
And Brandon, numbers surprise you at all?
No, I think it's funny because the you know, the news outlets, they put out their scores first, you know, when they put out the screenings. And so when they saw that people were giving it 7s, 7.5s, I think there is an expectation for, it depends on how you perceive. You know, some people see these news as like, oh, I don't trust the news outlets, I'm going to go judge for myself. It sounds like they're haters. And honestly, I'm a 7.5 guy myself, which is not even disrespect. I really like the movie. I just think it's a 7.
Yeah, I think I'd be surprised if any of us disagree with that, actually.
Yeah,
but
but
let's
I
move
think when
forward.
you hear people say 7, or when some people hear someone give a score that's less than a 9, they get insulted. Like, what do you mean? Didn't you like this? No, I absolutely enjoyed myself. Probably I enjoyed this more than I enjoyed quite a few other Marvel films, but it's still a 7.
Yeah, I think you're very right there when you talk about people. Now, if it's not a 9, if it's not a 10, it's a failure. And that is, it's something that's been kind of bred into us, which, well, for the current movie watching audience. And definitely, I think you set yourself up for a lot of disappointment, don't you?
Absolutely.
So let's move forward now. And Brandon, I'm going to come to you next for this one. And this is all about inspired by. Now, Brandon, as we know, you're probably the person on the panel here who's most got a very good knowledge about comics. Is there anything in this movie that you went, oh, they took that from there, they took that from there, or
too many times?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe just give us 2 or 3 kind of the biggies about, what do you reckon they drew from for this film?
Well, I think one of the things that everybody was looking forward to, it's not a surprise if you've been reading comics at all, but we all knew that the Illuminati was coming.
Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest things that we saw. I think a lot of people were looking forward to it. I think that's also where a lot of people's negative reactions have come from, because they, the Illuminati, there's a lot of expectation behind them, and they were really used as cannon fodder. And
they got nerfed pretty badly.
Yeah, they were. But I don't hate that scene, but we'll get into that for sure.
Yeah.
How about you, Joe? Is anything that you saw this film and you went, God, that reminds me of this? Or, something around that kind of aspect?
I felt that the intro scene when Shuma Gorath was in the beginning, first of all, when they had the trailer at the end of Spider-Man, which I happened to have the pleasure of viewing that with Brandon, the excitement Brandon had, oh my gosh, Shuma Gorath! I was like, oh, okay, that's going to be cool. And when I saw that scene, it just reminded me of Endgame. When the part, well, actually, it's Infinity War.
Yeah.
Right in the beginning when Doctor Strange was teaming up with the Hulk that
Tony
fell
Stark.
through. Yeah, Tony Stark and everybody. It just gave the same vibe. It was almost practically, I mean, not shot for shot, but there was a lot of similarities there. I expected more out of Baron Mordo because that's one of the pinnacle villains for Doctor Strange.
It certainly went in a different direction than I expected, for sure.
Right, yeah.
How about you, Billy? You watching this film, is there anything you went, oh, that reminds me of this? Or I reckon they got this idea from there? Or
Well, the one thing I was going to say is at least the reaction I had to the film, I went into it expecting a civil war, and I kind of left out feeling like I saw Iron Man 3 or Thor: The Dark World, which some people take more as an insult than I intended. That is not as harsh as I wanted to be.
Yeah. But I do know what you're kind of getting at is that it did feel like a very much a standalone.
It felt like a Phase 2 movie.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And you, Rick, what did you think, mate? Anything that you?
Oh, look, nothing
reminded
really
you of, or not really?
Obviously, the whole Illuminati scene cameo, it was good to see. Our boy there, Professor X, which was good, bringing back that nostalgia of the '90s, which was really, really cool. I hope we could obviously extend more on that, but there's just like I said, I had issues with this, and I will get into it.
Yeah, well, you've got your opportunity now, mate, because we're going to move into the best and the worst. All right, Rick, you kind of let it off. Let's go there. Give us your best part of the movie and the worst part of it.
I had some good parts, right? I love Sam Raimi put his splash of horror and his elements into this action film. Love the perfect blend of comic book movie, horror, fantasy, a little bit of comedic slapstick involved in that. Awesome. I love the moment that Stephen had when he was talking to himself, also talking to the variant of Christine and being confronted with his own ego and his arrogance. Absolutely love that scene. I thought that was a beautiful scene. This made for a good movie. I love the whole Rachel McAdams, exploring her as a character, because we don't really get to see much of her in the first one, which was really, really cool in her relationship with Stephen. Yeah. Obviously, all our cameos, we all love the cameo scene. You know, John Krasinski as Reed Richards. Bruce Campbell was amazing as, you know, Pizza Papa, whatever he was. Awesome. Loved all that. Brilliant scene, you know? You know, as we talk about Patrick Stewart, Professor X and all that. CGI was okay. The pacing of the movie was great. But what I did have a problem with was the Illuminati scene, the death scenes. I just, after thinking about it, you've got Captain Marvel, Marie Rambeau. She's the most powerful villain of all, and she dies under a statue. How does that work?
You know what I mean? I would argue that, Rick. I would argue that
just
based upon. My only thing about that, Rick, and I've got to mention. This, I felt, and I thought about it, and I felt, well, to me, that goes in to show how powerful the Scarlet Witch had become. That she can make an absolute meal of the Illuminati. That, you know, go on.
She wasn't at a full power. No. She wasn't at a full power. She was daywalking. She was daywalking.
Exactly.
So she's not at a full power. So I just
how did she make them?
Well, again, doesn't that show how powerful she is, though? That even as a, you know, if she's dream walking, she's owning fools. And not that they're fools, but you know what I mean.
Oh,
anyway, let's move on.
It's just kind of fair. Anyway.
Billy, the best and the worst.
Well, I'm going to go again with that Illuminati scene, because I thought, like, the thing is, Sam Raimi really does have a lot of creative ideas, and I think, like, if they let him have a little bit more free reign and they worked with him with some of the screenwriting and stuff like that a little bit more, there could have been a lot more fun visually with that. I felt like there was a lot of stuff that was just rushed so quickly that it didn't get to capitalize on having such a great director. I mean, this guy, he did the first 3 Spider-Man movies. He did Army of Darkness. He did Evil Dead. He did Ash vs. The Evil Dead, the TV series. He is a visually impressive dude. And, like, yeah, Captain Marvel dies from a statue.
Thank you, Billy. Thank you.
Reed Richards gets shredded like string cheese.
No, I believe that one.
Yeah,
I like that.
I agree with it. That could definitely happen. Yeah.
I like the little pop at the end though, when they strip him in the pop.
For the head. Yeah.
And I like that they did do this. The Captain Carter, as much as it was kind of a quick thing, because like just cutting her in half, that did seem like a Raimi type thing. And I did like a Black Bolt with the head exploding.
Yes, that's definitely a highlight.
Yeah,
I don't think that would have.
I mean,
personally, I don't think Black Bolt would have said anything. I think he would have just been like, "All right, so my mouth's closed. I'm not going to say nothing." You know what I mean? He'd probably just walk away.
I agree with you on that, but then also I saw the pilot to the Inhumans TV series, so that was kind of catharsis.
This was so bad. Fuck you,
Jedi. I mean, isn't that one of the things? Is like Marvel, they even make their diarrhea become cool again.
Yeah,
because
they took the Black Bolt from the ABC series and put him in the costume for this,
and made him look cool. I wanted to see that Black Bolt.
That Black Bolt was more comic accurate, I felt, than the TV series, because he even had the
same actor too. That's the
Anson Mount, who we're going to be talking about in a few minutes.
Yeah, now people are going to be like, "Oh, that guy was cool. He was Black Bolt."
Captain,
but instead, they're not going to say anything about like the 7-episode series. They're going to say like, "Remember that scene where his head blew up?"
Yeah, that's true. And what about the worst, Billy? The worst, worst thing. Just one worst thing about it.
I felt like they should have really gotten a handle of some of the hype behind the scenes, like the spoilers and the predictions, because I feel like the hype oversold the movie and it didn't live up to that.
It was a marketing failure for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Joe, the best part and the worst thing about this movie.
The best part was seeing the extreme powers of the Scarlet Witch and how they handled some of the scenes, almost horror-like fashion, where she's like coming out of the portal, almost like The Ring, where there's a jump scare in a couple of scenes where she's just there and she's and I felt that was handled really well. I really enjoyed Zombie Doctor Strange. I thought that was a lot of fun. Seeing him, what was it, Dreamwalk? He's like, who says I have to be alive? Seeing the evil Doctor Strange with the eye, I thought that was really neat. And I felt that the runtime was kind of short in comparison with a lot of other films that have come out in the Marvel universe. So I was surprised at the time length. I felt like it could have been a little bit longer, believe it or not.
Yeah, this felt like one of those Marvel like pass out films, like where they do like I mean, if you told me like this was a Sony movie, I would have been like, yeah, I could see that.
I don't know if it's that bad. Good Lord.
You are arming yourself today. You're firing off the guns, Billy. Billy the Kid, I reckon.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Change his name. Right. Holy shit. And the worst thing.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
no, it's all good. That's all good. Oh, the worst thing was seeing Professor X get killed again. I feel like they overly kill Professor. I was so annoyed. I was like,
he's the Sean Bean of the
Patrick Stewart one. Patrick Stewart one always the one that dies.
I was so
That's
annoyed.
How
I was
knew
like,
that it wasn't going to be McAvoy, because if it was McAvoy, he would have lived to the end.
Oh my god, I was so annoyed. It's like, oh come on, not again.
Another redhead.
By another redhead, shittily in the other one. Oh man, so I absolutely adore Patrick Stewart. He's like the grandfather I always wanted. Yeah. So seeing that was like, no.
All right, Brandon, the best and the worst.
All right, the best is it's a twofer. The best is either Wanda's acting.
Yeah, she was really good.
Olsen's acting is like top tier. We got to see her do so much that unfortunately we didn't get to see some other people do. Unfortunately, America, I felt like her role didn't allow for her to do much. And Doctor Strange kind of reminds me of like some Batman movies where the Joker outshines him, or some other villain outshines him. Doctor Strange didn't really do much for me in this one, but Elizabeth Olsen, like her acting,
was exceptional.
Yeah,
I think that combined with Raimi's directing, some of the camera angles we saw, the jump scares, the colors, just some of the wacky ideas, just a lot of Raimi-isms, where it helped make it. This could have been, and if another director directed it, probably would have been a very basic Marvel movie. But Raimi's just use of color and camera and editing, and just how he managed to put everything together helped Multiverse of Madness stand out above some other films. We spoke about Shang-Chi before, and Shang-Chi was great, but Shang-Chi didn't really visually stand out or do anything different. Multiverse of Madness did. So those are my bests are Olsen and Raimi. Now, as far as the worst part, I probably it's got to be the fact that this ain't the first script. They did change writers. There was a lot of rescheduling. This was supposed to come out before Spider-Man. This was pandemic ruined everything.
Yeah.
They rewrote the script, and you can kind of see, I think Rick touched on it, that there was just some weird cuts.
It was choppy. The editing was weird.
There were some things felt very fast. Some story elements felt very rushed. And it kept the excitement up. Like, we kept moving. It was like, hey, so there's a lot of action. There was never a slow point. But some scenes and some shifts of mood it didn't connect just right. And so when people are complaining about whatever they're complaining about, if they're complaining about the Illuminati, if they're complaining about what's it called, America Chavez, if they're complaining about Wanda and how she doesn't seem like they don't see how Wanda went from WandaVision to how she is now. I've seen various complaints, but all of that goes to the script. The script.
I'm surprised we didn't touch on this. I've heard a lot of people just say like, this thing seemed like it could have been like a WandaVision special season finale.
Right. I mean, some people really were like, I don't know what old ideas got kept, what new ideas were introduced, because I know there was a whole new second script that started from scratch. But I'm not sure if people who watched WandaVision, they really liked Wanda. They might have felt that she was redeemed, even though I don't know how she enslaved an entire town, and I didn't think she was redeemed. But there's people who really liked
her imaginary family.
But there's people who really liked Wanda by the end of it and really didn't see how we went from her walking away and maybe things calming down to I'm ready to murder and jump across worlds and take my kids from a whole nother version of me. It just seemed like a big shift. And I'm not saying I agree with the people or disagree with the people who have that complaint, but there's a lot of different complaints, and all of those complaints seem to be about the writing.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think the biggest problem is if you're going to have a shift from a protagonist to an antagonist, is that's what they did with her, that you need to see scenes of that development. And we really didn't.
No, we didn't.
From jumping from WandaVision to it. The best part of me is, just like you said, Brandon, it really is the Sam Raimi essence of it. Sam Raimi, as much as he's a great film director, I didn't think this film was much different than his other films in the sense that he makes films that are just really like, there's a lot of coolness to it, but they never usually have the best acting, or there's always big tonal shifts.
Wait,
I mean,
are
he
you
will
saying
go
Bruce
from
Campbell
obscene
isn't an
violence
treasure that we should celebrate?
Yeah. But you'll go from extreme violence to slapstick comedy. That's what Sam Raimi does. So I really love that kind of side of it. And I'm just going to talk in big general terms. We've got to move forward. But the worst part is actually the second act. It is around them shifting through the multiverse, which I thought we would be getting several different universes. But essentially, we get, 2 or 3 that we actually visit?
Yeah.
So we get that scene, which we saw a bit of in the trailer, where they're moving through the first time he latches onto American Chavez and goes through the multiverse to see all these, the animated, the paint person, the underwater one, and all that.
It would have been just
and it felt so condensed, and it felt like, they animated this and they got this done months before they even started shooting. Like, it just felt, and then you go move into that universe with the Illuminati universe, 838, I believe they called it. And I felt it really slowed down in the beginning as they're walking through the streets.
Like, everything was so pretty,
every opposite and all that, but it was like there was just
the memory source.
Yeah, the memory source. I think I see why they needed those scenes in there to kind of add some emotional context to those characters,
and also deliver.
But it really just dipped at that point. And then the Illuminati scene, which I do love, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. But I think this film it starts off well. It starts hitting straight into action straight away, and I don't mind the third act, even though I was jarred when I saw musical notes as weapons. I'm like,
oh, that was beautiful.
That was kind of cool.
And then my immediate reactions, I don't know if I like this, but literally 2 seconds later, I go, no, I love this. This is a cool concept. So highs in the beginning, highs at the end, but a big dip for me. But we're going to move on, guys, and let's move on to overall opinion. So we've kind of gotten there anyway, and I'm going to start off with my overall opinion of the movie. And my overall opinion of the movie is, yes, it is a very much a standalone sequel. Even though it promised to be interconnected to a larger canvas in the MCU, it didn't deliver on that. The marketing, as you mentioned, Billy, was a failure. The fact they even spoiled Patrick Stewart in that trailer was unnecessary. Yeah. People were going to see this film, whatever. They would have been better to hold back. And I think that was a detriment to people's expectations because you saw they go, well, they got Patrick Stewart in there, then they've got this, and they've got Tom Cruise, and they've got all these people.
The Tom Cruise thing, that was like another thing that was a big fake out.
So
really
that's right. So everybody's expectations were kind of through the roof.
People expected superior Iron Man.
Yeah, and I've seen the film twice now. I have seen it a second time. Watching it a second time, I actually think it actually plays better the second time you see it than the first time you see it. Because once you go in the second time and you watch it for just what it is, it seems a bit more, things seem to play a lot better. So overall, yeah, I wouldn't give it anything than a 7 and a 7.5. And like you said, Brandon, too, it's not an insult. It's a compliment to a film that was handled poorly from a marketing perspective. But overall, Sam Raimi delivered a Sam Raimi film. That's what Kevin Feige wanted. I, as an audience man, appreciated the different visual style because, as you've also mentioned, there's a bit of same with the style of these Marvel films where they feel kind of Shang-Chi, as you mentioned, Brandon, being very much a standard MCU kind of fare, nothing visually interesting about it, to something that's different. You know, it's like James Gunn. A James Gunn film. Yeah. A Shane Black film. Well, no matter what you think of Iron Man 3. Certain filmmakers like style.
Nice knockoff of The Incredibles.
We are never all going to agree on Iron Man 3.
I hate Iron Man 3.
I love Iron Man 3.
I enjoy it too. It's only the
I made a mistake that's not what we're here for. I told my nephew to
not what we're here for.
Iron Man 3.
That was my overall opinion. 7.5. I enjoy it. I will watch it again. It is a film that will be repeated for me. Joe, overall opinion.
It was okay. I enjoyed the visualness. The visual effects were really cool, and I enjoyed a lot of the cameos. I thought I was unfortunately one of those idiots that I started speculating in my head and started saying Deadpool's going to show up. Deadpool's going to show up. Deadpool's going to.
In fairness, I think Ryan Reynolds helped with that because I know Ryan Reynolds likes to troll Marvel fans on his social media, where, like, I could have sworn I heard somewhere that Ryan Reynolds claimed that he was going to be the big one to save the day in Endgame.
Yeah,
he's like, Deadpool is going to take out Thanos.
Who says he didn't? You don't know what Deadpool was doing.
But I mean, I would give it a 6.5.
Wow. Okay.
Out of 10. Yeah.
It
should have been a little bit longer, and like you said, it dragged.
No, I had to pee. It did not need to be longer.
2 hours.
2 hours is enough for me.
2 hours.
I grew up in a world where 2 hours, you're in and out. That's it. I'm glad they're moving away from 3 hours.
If I'm paying $25, I mean, I went to the place with a heated seat, but I want a long ass movie. Make that shit worth every penny. This movie ain't cheap, and then I got to get popcorn.
That's what we have streaming for, though.
I'm not doing the storytelling there. I want to see massive. I want to go every time. Wow, how big the screen is. This is not.
I'll stay for 3 hours when they install a toilet in the heated seat.
Yeah,
we're gonna get Brandon a catheter, Marvel catheter,
the catheter of madness.
Shit. Rick, we gotta move this on, guys. Rick, overall opinion.
Yeah, look, I didn't have, going into this movie, I didn't have really high expectations like everyone else. I stayed away from all the social media and all that. I was excited to see this movie. When I left the cinema, Jay, and you were with me, Jace, I wasn't as excited like, either Endgame or Infinity War. Like, you come out of the cinema like, fuck yeah, this was a good movie. You know what I mean? You're pumped about it. This is a solid MCU movie, It's an enjoyable movie. If you're one of those super fans that want to rip it to shreds with everything else and follow all that stuff, well, then you know what? You're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to take it for what it is. And I think social media, like we've spoken about it throughout the show, has ruined this experience for a lot of people because they're jumping on the bandwagons and listening to all this hype and theories and all the rest of it. But look, it is a solid movie for me. And like I said, I agree with everyone else. I'd put it around the 6.5, 7 for me. The only thing I'd probably criticize is I wanted to have a little bit more multiverse, like JC was saying. I think there was too much madness in this movie for me. So, but overall, go see it. Good movie.
Fantastic. All right, Brandon, you're up, mate.
First, before I say anything, I want to apologize for any noise you're hearing on my end. We are recording this. This is live, and I try to give people the heads up. I'm trying to get to a nice quiet space, and I just can't win.
You're good, mate. All is forgiven, of course. Here.
Oh my goodness!
Well, we had a cat guest star in one of those.
Yeah.
You know, it's all messed up, guys. Time to hang the Target bag back up because
Yeah.
The mystique is closed.
The overall opinion, I had a great time. I had a great time. I think the thing that hurt for me, aside from the things I already talked about during the best and worst part, is that maybe a week, 2 weeks before I saw the brilliant movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Isn't that incredible? I saw that the other week.
Fantastic masterpiece that deals with parallel universes and the madness that can come from it.
Oops.
And when you watch that before watching Multiverse of Madness, it really makes Multiverse of Madness seem like not much. Like, still fun, but the concept of the multiverse was not played with nearly as much as you would hope.
I remember seeing that film, Brandon, and going, gee, I just hope this is the direction they're going to go. And they didn't.
Yeah, man.
Now I have to see this.
So, like,
you have to see that film.
Seen the movie? Please check that movie out. I mean, check out Doctor Strange also, but please check out Everything Everywhere All at Once. But I still had a great time. I still had it was good seeing. I don't want to spend too much time because we'll get to talk about it during the what's next portion. You spoiled that for me. I know that's coming. But
there's more.
Yeah. But no, I had a great time. I don't have a ton to complain about. I could complain, but why? I had fun.
Yeah, brilliant, Billy. Love it, Billy.
Part of me actually just wants, hearing like some of our ideas and stuff and like our reactions, I almost want to do like one of the things for the to be seen thing and just do like one of the fanfics things for this, because I can imagine like incorporating some of these ideas to do like the little shorts that I do in the videos for that.
If you want to review
fun stuff with this,
do it, mate. Do it.
Yeah. That's all you, Billy.
There you go. So that's your overall opinion?
There it is.
Oh, I'm basically promoting. I'm going to do like a new short for.
You're like Joe at the beginning of the show.
Plug. Don't forget, we have another show on this channel.
Self-promotion. Fantastic.
Yeah, so Billy, just to close it off, you loved it.
He loved it.
He loved it.
I love when you can actually make something out of another film. Sometimes it's great when the thing with Sam Raimi is even when he does like a movie that's mediocre, you can have so much fun either ripping on it or just celebrating it that you can actually have good rewatch capabilities. And you'll find something cheesy that you'll appreciate. I mean, basically the No Way Home movie that they did for Spider-Man, the entire thing was a callback to the Raimi films. There was all of the Easter eggs where they just basically celebrated everything campy that has become a meme because of Raimi. I can only imagine like 10 years from now, how many memes came out of this movie that we're just going to be like, oh, I get that now.
I was there for that.
Yeah, so basically it becomes part of the public consciousness long term. Yeah, fantastic. We're going to move on, guys, because we rush, and I can feel Joe going. We've got another show to do today.
Just in case we're also the leaders of Captain's Quadrant.
Yeah. Of course, do your plugs. What's next, guys? What's next? All right. Okay, what's next, guys? Comes up for? We saw at the end of the film. Doctor Strange will return, just like James Bond does. What is next for Doctor Strange? Where are they going to take him? This is the wild speculation part of the show.
I thought it was over.
Oh, no, there's more.
There's always more.
There's more.
How about
Brandon?
That cameo? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Brandon. Because he let it off. He said he wants to talk about something. Go.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
All right. Well, this kind of ties into what we were talking about with inspirations. We saw America Chavez. We know that's another member of the Young Avengers who we're going to see. I don't know when we're going to see it. I don't know if it'll be a movie or a TV show. Eventually, these contracts are going to go up, and we're going to need some new stars. And almost all of the Young Avengers have been introduced by now. Perhaps we'll see more from Wanda's children in the future. We know that Secret Wars is coming. They've talked about incursions.
So does that mean Hulkling might be in She-Hulk or something?
Say that again?
Thinking of like what new Avengers I haven't had. I mean, I know Kid Loki was in Loki.
Well, they still haven't
so
really
are they gonna
introduced
have...
They still really haven't introduced Wiccan and Speed yet. Like we've got teased it, but like Wanda's kids are not like really introduced in their superhero form. So
we got the tease of that during the Halloween episode.
Yeah, but there's Secret Wars to look forward to. Like I know that's coming. And perhaps since we got we saw all these teasers with Fantastic Four and Professor Xavier, so I'm looking forward to seeing more from them, because even though everything felt so rushed, it did give me a lot to look forward to.
Hey, wait, actually, I just thought about something.
Yeah.
Did we actually see Hulkling by accident? Are they going to, like, how they retroactively made
Hulkling yet?
No, but I'm just saying this because of how they retroactively made Peter Parker part of Iron Man 2. Was Hulkling one of the Skrulls in Captain Marvel?
That's a very good chance that we'll see during the Skrull invasion a lot of recognizable Skrulls or half Skrulls show up.
But they got that show, Secret Invasion, coming out later the year.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Elijah showing up. I'm looking forward to Super Skrull. There's a lot of people that we can see show up, and hopefully we can see some Hulkling in the future.
Brilliant. Joe, where do you think they go next?
Well, you got Charlize Theron opening up her own multiverse of madness.
Yeah.
Oh, and for people that don't know who she was, her character is Cleo. That is, I believe, the current Sorcerer Supreme and the ex-wife of Doctor Strange.
And Dormammu's niece.
Dormammu's niece, exactly. So I think we're going to see
Thanksgiving's there.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're going to see a return of Dormammu and this Earth, our Earth's 619 or whatever our Earth number
616.
616. Brandon got
Rey
that.
Mysterio Jr.?
Yeah, he got it. My man. Wrestling joke. I can see the return there. And just so much going on of our Baron Mordo, seeing where exactly that goes. And there's got to be a tie-in with Shang-Chi, because Juan ended up in that film. So there's got to be some connection there that we're going to see maybe in a future film. Maybe there's a crossover event between those two. So I'm excited. We'll see where that goes.
Rick, what's next, do you think, for Doctor Strange?
Look, I think obviously he's going to be Dark Dimension. He's definitely going to be in that.
It's the Darkhold part of him by the end.
That's right.
Well, yeah, that's for the third eye, So I want to see a bit more of a darker Doctor Strange, that experience. I want to see that side of
even
things.
Darker than what we got.
I want to see more people get killed.
I do, and it's going to open up more
on
people,
a bigger body count.
You do, man.
I want to see more die.
I mean, look, if they unleash Dormammu, and then he's going to be a huge character, and they reckon he's going to be more in the MCU world, he's going to be more powerful than obviously Thanos. So to see that story come out and see how he, Doctor Strange already killed him in the first one, but because he had the time stone, so he's got to come up with a different approach now. If he's going to come up against him,
because he can't.
How is he going to
let
do
him kill him a bunch of times and say, "I've come to bargain"?
Yeah, that's right. So
time stone doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no time stone. Yeah.
And Billy, what's next? Oh, sorry, Rick.
No, all good, mate. All good.
Billy, what's next?
All right. Well, as everybody's been saying, I think that the Young Avengers are on the way in. I mean, I'm just thinking about all the different characters that they've introduced between that and the multiverse. I know that they're going to probably try to bring back some of the characters that have been killed. They are probably going to introduce a new Iron Man eventually. I hate to say that. But they're going to pick which characters of the of the new canon are good to keep. I mean, I could see them doing both Patriot and America Chavez, because if you watched Winter Soldier, you saw Isaiah Bradley's grandson, who is Patriot, one of the original members of the Young Avengers. And they've essentially snuck them into all of the Phase 4 projects. So whether it's TV shows or the movies, you've seen the majority of the new Avengers that are the Young Avengers have been in everything so far.
Fantastic.
I'm also curious about Thunderbolts.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, Doctor Strange, I think what they've set up in this movie, I mean, you're going to think the whole reason for the Illuminati, one of their things was they killed their Doctor Strange. They believe that Doctor Strange is the biggest threat to the multiverse. They pulled on that thread a little bit, but they haven't finished off on it. And I think with him with the Darkhold, I think, Rick, maybe you're right. Maybe we're going to have to see the next film of Doctor Strange going in a real internal conflict kind of storytelling device with Doctor Strange, because you can't just leave it like that. He's got the Darkhold part of him and then just not address it again. It will have to be whether that's done in his true sequel or whether that's done in a crossover film. Who knows? But yeah, I think that's where it's going. All right, guys, we are almost out of here. But before we go, an open forum. Anybody can say whatever they like, and that is final thoughts. Does anyone have any final thoughts about this film before we get out of here?
Well, when we talk about the Multiverse of Madness, I can't help but think about another title that is coming out soon. And I believe that is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I believe that's the name of it. And I think that if we see Doctor Strange sooner than a direct sequel, it could be there. Dormammu in the Dark Dimension, Multiverse of Madness, something tells me that if we see Doctor Strange show up somewhere, it could be there. If not Guardians of the Galaxy, I know the Guardians of the Galaxy have had their issues with Dormammu as well. But that's it. I don't have a ton more to say about it. Go see it. Make up your own minds about it if you haven't. Yeah, that's about it. Everybody else?
All right.
I think there's just there is one missed opportunity that I thought they could have capitalized on. When he was falling through all the different dimensions, I know they wouldn't have done it because of Sony, but they could have had it when they went to the animated reality, made it the Across the Spider-Verse trailer, and had him fall past Miles while Miles is fighting with Spider-Man 2099. Just have it crossing the path.
That'd be cool.
And they kind of had a missed opportunity because they should have done the animated sequence to look like, for me, X-Men the animated series.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Because you are referencing it, aren't you, with the music cues and
exactly
with the yellow wheelchair and the sonic rings.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So there you go. How about you two boys? You got any more last thoughts before we get out of here?
I just wanted to see Sherlock show up. I thought that'd have been cool if he would pop up in one of the multiverses and kind of, that type of
but if they did Sherlock,
that would have been kind of
Robert
cool.
Downey Jr. Catch everybody off guard.
I think one thing the MC needs to slow down is their expansion at the moment. You imagine bringing that universe into it as well.
Right, right.
There you go.
Or
all right. Well,
Raimi universe, just have like Ash or
Toby Maguire
or something.
Yeah. Well,
Rick,
that's it, guys. We are going to get out of here. And just before we go, I'm going to pick somebody random this week to plug the show and plug everything else. And I think I'm going to make it Rick. Yay. Plug us away, mate.
Guys.
Plug the channel. Do whatever.
Cool. So, hang on, guys. Can you guys hear me? Sorry.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Speak away.
Happening at the moment. Yeah, guys, look. Follow us all on our social media sites, guys. We're going to leave the links down below. We're going to give us a like, a subscribe. Also, follow all our other social media channels as well. I guess everyone will plug those as well. And then if you guys want to hear our podcast as well, Joe, you put up the podcast as well. So follow that on podcast on Podbean, Spotify, Apple, wherever else we've got our podcast going as well, guys. Remember, follow, like, and subscribe. Comment on everything, guys, because we want to hear from you guys. We really, really appreciate it.
Fantastic.
Get on
Does anybody else want to plug anything before we out? Joe, I'm looking at you, Joe. Do you want to plug anything?
Now that this is wrapping up, make sure you check us out in the Captain's Quadrant, where I'll be putting on my cosplay gear to bring us into Strange New Worlds with my buddy Jason. So let's go.
All right, guys. Well, this has been a great first episode of 1 week later. We hope to do more. And like I said, the concept is we're not just going to do the review the day we see it. We're going to let it sit with us. We're going to let it stew and bake and whatever. And stay tuned. I'm sure there will be further episodes of this series coming forward. Thank you all for watching and listening, whatever you're doing. And we will see you all next time.